So feet go in the pocket like this.
Issue is if you don't use a long enough screw, you can.
So the question is, what do we use in the bathroom? Just run your hand along here. I have 5 things I'd like to share with you today. First is an upgrade to my warm window curtains. Next, I have 2 questions from viewers and they require a visual, so I'm going to answer those questions. Fourth is a news update of something I learned last night, and if you love the Owens Valley the way I do, you'll want to learn about this. And finally, I want to share my purged, organized, and redecorated garage so that I have a little larger workspace. So let me show you some of the improvements that I think I've made to the warm window curtains. The first one is that I've made this sling to hold it in place when you're not using it. I think it looks a lot better and it's holding it really well. All it is a piece of fabric the length of the curtain and 14 inches. So this is the finished width is 14 inches. So here, let me remove this down, and it comes down really easily. It's held on with Velcro. The one side is sewn on, and the other is a piece of adhesive Velcro that's on the valance, and that runs the entire length, and it's sticking really well. So if you don't have a valance, this may not work for you, or you might be able to come up with some other idea. But for our van, you just run your hand along here, and that reveals the curtain. I took some videos while I was sewing this on, so I will insert those now to show you how I sewed it to the warm window curtain. I want to make sure I get this sewn on right. So the 2 wrong sides go together. And let me flip this over. I'm going to sew this below the snaps because the snaps go up inside the valance, and then I'll just run a long stitch down that way, all along the top edge. I have 5 of these snap pieces on this side. It's a little awkward getting these up the first time. There we go. There we go. There. And one more. There, got it. Go like this. And like this. And stick that up like that. All the way down. There we go. That looks much better. The next thing that I wanted improved was a way to hold these up part way, and I did that. I'll show you. I did that with these little magnetic clip things. They're often used on purses. So I purchased some of these, and it's one side is a magnet and one side is just the metal that it hooks onto. And I did some videos on how to put those on, and so I'll insert those here, but they are working really well. There are 3 pieces to this magnetic clasp. These are often used on purses and bags and things like that. There's this piece that is the magnet, and then the opposite side. And then these little discs that go in there to keep them tight. I've been using the pliers to pull them apart, like that. I've ripped the seam back here, and I've marked in here where I want to pierce the fabric. And what I found the best way to do that is self-healing mat. So I'll stick that in there. And then I'll take my small rotary cutter and just kind of push down on it. I'll just smash it a little bit right there. One there, and then another one there. And that'll go through all the layers of fabric. And then I can stick the magnet through the holes. And I did it so it was horizontal rather than vertical, thinking that it would have less chance of continuing to rip. And then once that's through, you can put the disc in there and then push down these little tabs. I find that some pliers, needle nose pliers, are easiest for pushing those down. And because it's under this seam here, this edge, I can then re-stitch that, and then you won't see the back of it. So there's that side. Now I'll mark the other side and put this piece in. Oops, I don't want it vertical, I want it horizontal. So I'm gonna do it right here. There you go. I smashed it down. So now we've got that one done. And I did them on both sides. On the other side, it holds it up so that you can open the window and get fresh air in. So I wanted a way to hook it against the window without drilling a hole in the frame. And I did that with snaps. You can buy snaps that actually screw into wood or whatever. And I discovered that behind these little dots, there are screws. And I removed the screw and put in the snap, and then put the opposing snap on the other side. So now I can snap it to the window. So you can put one on each side, which I have done. And there was one more thing that bothered me, and that was the Velcro around our fan. It always, it never stuck properly. So I removed that and proceeded to remove the screws that were in here. I tried to find matching screws that were the same length and that would fit, but that was a little problematic. And these are Robertson, you have to have a Robertson screwdriver to get in here. I think it's a number, it's either a 0 or a 1. So I ended up using the existing screws because I couldn't get them the right length. If they're too short, they won't bite into whatever is behind this. And I'm thinking there's a piece of wood or something back there. So you need to bite into that. It had to be the same length, and the head size had to fit into these snaps. That was the big problem. The screw that came out of the hole, and then I drilled out the stud with the smaller bit. Oops. Put it that way. Okay. So the drill bit is a 13/64. I want to flatten it out a little bit, so I'm going to put the screw, I'm going to put that in here and hit it with the hammer and have it work.
So it took us a half hour to find the right bit.
I believe it's a Robertson 0. It's the smallest one they make, I think. I guess they could make a 00.
And then you went to how many hardware stores looking for a screw that was this length?
No, I didn't find it. I just went to Ace because they have the biggest selection, but they didn't have anything that had a flatter. These are such skinny little dudes. Oops. Here we go. Yay! Now we just have to wait a minute. It does look a little wonky there. I just hope it works with the snaps. Oh well, if it doesn't, we'll have to figure something else out. I gotta go put the other side of the snaps on. I ripped out the old Velcro, so there's still strings around here, which I need to clean up. But I've marked the first hole, and I'm using this handy dandy little expensive tool that I got from Sailrite. And you put the top of the cap here, inside here. The neat thing about this is you don't have to punch a hole. And then here is the other end. And this goes on here. I have to screw up another one. I didn't pinch it in far enough. I think that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, now let's take that off. Like that. There we go. Now let's see if it works. First question was from someone who wanted to know what bedding we were using, because I've changed over the last 4 years since we've had our van. I've changed multiple times, each time trying to eliminate bulk. So when I make up the bed, I just use the queen-sized fitted sheet on the back sofa.
So you can see it goes on really easy. And I'll lower the seat, but I better get out of here first. And of course the bed boards go in to these things, whatever they're called. Now, I did not put the comforter inside just to make it easier. But it's a queen size, so it fits very nicely side to side. And then here is the pocket. I'll even get in for you. So feet go in the pocket like this, so that is what covers up the lower ottomans down here. But the change that I'm going to make, as I said, is I'm going to buy 3 queen-size sheets and make my own duvet cover. And instead of cutting this in half, I'm going to go all the way to the top with the so-called pocket, because in the wintertime, we may want just a little bit more warmth. And I'm going to try to attach it, instead of sewing it in, I'm going to do it with zippers. So I'm going to see how that works, and if it works out, I'll show you how you can do it too. So the question is, what do we use in the bathroom on the floor? And all I did was buy one of these big fluffy things, these mats, and I fold it in half. So I fold it in half, and it goes on the bottom here. And then on top of that, I have the bamboo, this bamboo mat that we use outdoors when we shower outdoors. And I have heard reports from people that they've actually cracked their shower pan by using something like this. And so we've not had any problem with using the mat underneath it, and haven't had an issue there. And that's a nice solid base. So that's what we use in the bathroom. The next item is kind of a news flash, because I just learned about it last night watching a YouTube channel that I follow called Ghost Town Living. And this is a young man who bought the old town of Cerro Gordo, which is an old mining town in the Inyo Mountains of the western side of Owens Valley. And he's been trying to restore the buildings there. They had a fire years ago, and anyway, it's a long story. But back in the mid-70s, I was exploring in my 1968 Volkswagen Squareback, and I decided to take this dirt road up to this old mining town, and really enjoyed it. And so I kind of got this personal connection to it. But last night on his channel, he alerted all of his followers, and he has tons of followers, that there's a mining company in Canada that has applied to do an open pit cyanide mine just 2 miles from Cerro Gordo. I'm going to put a link to his channel below. You can watch his video, and then he's asking people to write comments to the Bureau of Land Management. The comment period ends the end of August. So if you'd like to submit comments, that would be great. That's all I'm going to say. You can make up your own minds. But I just wanted people to be knowledgeable about this. If you've ever traveled on US 395 up through the Owens Valley, that's the area I'm talking about. Now let's move on for anyone that's interested, because I know for a lot of you guys this is not your cup of tea, but I thought I'd share one of the projects I did during our downtime back home when we were escaping the heat that everybody else seemed to be under. And that was to completely purge, and this, I was kind of inspired. 2 things inspired me. One, when I sorted through all my brother's hardware at his place in Spokane, but then also I was listening to Van Trekking Lifestyle, and they were doing some purging as well, as it turns out, because they were moving. And that kind of inspired me to get on our garage, because it's one of those projects you put off forever. And so John and I spent, well, actually it took me about a week to go through stuff and to then create this kind of kind of an office for me for doing YouTube videos and doing sewing and doing the projects that I work on. And one of those projects was this wood wall that I did about 4 to 5 years ago, when John was, just before he retired. I would drive up to the place where he worked, because they always had pallets everywhere, and fill the car with pallets and then come home and cut them up. And pallets are really hard to cut up because they use these kind of barbed nails. You actually have to cut them off with the saw. And so I got a reciprocating saw and went through a number of blades until I probably went through about 40 or 50 crates until I had a huge stack of wood. But it just gives it a warmer feeling. I just really like it. And I also want to show you these two pictures here. Now, you might remember when John and I were in Idaho when we went to that ghost town of Wallace, Idaho. And I saw that crumble sticker. Well, for our anniversary, John found on, I guess, eBay or someplace like that, he found 2 magazine pages that had the old Crumbles ad on it. This was from the Delineator, June 1920. Love it. Anyway, so this is one of the ads, and then this is the other ad, and I had them framed and thought that would be perfect on my new office wall. The other piece of furniture I want to share with you, because it has a story, is this piece. And I've had it for probably 10 years. It's been out here in the garage, and we put tools and stuff like that in it. And this, though, came from the TV show The Bachelorette, I think it was, either The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. And I only paid $100 for it, but I just thought it was perfect for this kind of a garage setting. So I've got a lot of my sewing stuff in here. So that's the story behind this chest. And then over here, I have my commercial sewing machine because it's too heavy to move. It really has to stay in the garage, and it's large. But this I can do heavy-duty projects on, and I love this thing. Just so you know, if you've ever considered sewing, you can quite often get a commercial machine like this for a lot less than you get a home sewing machine. This only does the straight stitch though, nothing, not even a zigzag stitch. So, but it has a walking foot, which is really important when you're doing dense projects. So this is my commercial machine. It was $1,500. I bought it from a place down in Los Angeles, and I have just absolutely loved this console. The only piece of furniture we bought for this kind of remodel is this tool chest. It's 72 inches wide. The top can be cranked up and down. It has a nice, has one of those electrical things on the side so you can plug tons of stuff in because there are never enough wall outlets. And I went through all the tools and sorted them, and we took a lot to Goodwill, Salvation Army. And it's just so nice. Now I know all my drills are in here. I can just find everything so much easier. It's just really a dream to have organized tools. Why did we wait so long? This was not part of our change at all because we've had this for a few years. Actually, we got it just before John retired because the company he worked for used to sell this. They don't anymore. In fact, I don't even think the product is made, but it is industrial strength. And it's really nice because it rolls really beautifully and it stores a lot of stuff, and we got rid of a lot of stuff that was in here, so we still have room, but love this. And then I still have to go to Goodwill or someplace, maybe Habitat for Humanity, and get rid of all these extra tiles that we have from remodels of decades ago. So that still needs to go in. And organized all of our camping gear, and everything has a place now. That is our reorganization. I hope it's inspired you to maybe do something similar. Tackle it now while you have the time, while you have the energy, and it'll just improve your life a lot. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.